I confess, I have not. Here's the thing: I haven't watched.
You haven't
it
seen
yet.
Game of Thrones?
I know. Look at me.
Ever?
Can you just catch me up on what's happened so far in the first few seasons of Game of Thrones?
What?
We got
a minute.
We're about 45 seconds now.
Stabby, 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 stabby. Sexy, 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 stabby, stabby, stabby. Beautiful, beautiful language and beautiful scenes of poetry and musing on the world that as we know it in King's Landing, and then a couple jokes.
All right, that works. Go, go, go!
Spoiler alert. Ladies and gentlemen, bienvenidos a Cordkillers. Our mission to report the intel from the front lines of the cord-cutting revolution so you, whether you want to cut cable or not, can figure out how to watch what you want, when you want, where you want, on any damn device you please. I'm Tom Merritt.
Hey, man, I'm Brian Brushwood. I tell you what, I don't need cable. I don't need HBO. I don't need no cord-killing equipment as long as I have Peter Dinklage just describing to me exactly what Game of Thrones is. If it was that every week, I would tune in.
Boy, I hope our guest Lamar Wilson has been caught up on Game of Thrones because Dinklage just spoiled everything.
Once he said stabby, I was like, I'm done. I can't watch. Yeah, I can't watch it now. Nah, I'm all caught up, guys. How you doing, man?
Dude, it's great to have you back, Lamar. Thanks so much for making it. We're for those of you guys watching live, we are recording at 2:00 on a Monday morning, which is not our usual time, but we appreciate everybody flexing to join us. But I suspect none of us is less flexible or is more flexible than Lamar, who I understand has a cord-cutting experience that we're going to look at in our primary target. Is that right?
I think so. Let's do it.
All right, let's do the primary target acquired.
So, Lamar Wilson, you recently moved into a new location. What was your experience in hooking up television?
The experience was, at first, very peaceful and awesome. And then I realized, I need to get rid of this cable. And I have Time Warner cable. My bill is about $151 a month. And I say, enough is enough. I'm paying more in rent. Let's get rid of this cable. So I call Time Warner cable. I say, look, I want to cancel cable. So let's transfer you over. They hung up on me 3 times trying to transfer me over to the department to cut the cables. Like they didn't want me to do it.
Customer retention is what they call that, right?
Yes, the retention. 3 times I got hung up on in a row. So the 4th time, I'm like, look, you are not going to hang up on me. I want the cable cut. And so she said, oh, okay, we'll take care of you. So I get to retention. Oh, you're calling to cancel cable? Yeah, I just said that. I want to cancel cable. Well, before you do that, what channels do you love the most? I'm like, I don't know, ABC. Just cut the cable. I just want it done. And so she's like, oh, you want just the internet? I said, yeah, I just give me my internet, my 100 megabits plan. What about the internet do you love the most? And I'm like, wait, what? Just cut the cable. I'm like, none of your business. I do a lot of stuff on the internet you don't need to know about, lady.
Well, and you know what this is. This is like they've had a workshop where everyone came in at Thursday in the morning and they had donuts and they're like, hi, I'm Judy from retention. Listen, a lot of people seem to be cutting the cord and we just think that they're misinformed and we have a script here that we'd like you to follow. Ask them what they like about it and they'll say Netflix and Hulu. And then what you could say is, well, you realize you could get all of the same programming faster and at a higher resolution if you just keep your cable.
Yep, that's it. That's it.
Now, turn your binders to page 6.
Yes.
For how to respond to someone who says, I don't know. I just want to cut my service.
I'm like, just get to the point, lady. So I was told, okay, fine, we'll cut your cable. It's going to be $101. And I freaked out on the phone. I'm like, wait a minute. On your site, it says $65 for this package that I had just had. I just had cable for like 6 months. She's like, I'm sorry, that's for new customers. So I'm like, well, how about I cancel and then you put me back? Oh, sorry. You got to wait 30 days, sir. So I got her down to $139. And so that's $12, I think, less than I was paying. So basically, I'm being held hostage to have cable because of the internet. And I let them know that. I do not like that.
Walk me through this, Lamar, because you said you were paying, when you had, I assume you had cable and phone and internet, right?
No, I never had the phone.
Okay, so forget phone. It was just cable and internet. You were paying what?
$151 before tax.
All right, then you say, I want to drop cable, and then they offer you how much?
Well, no, they say if you drop it, your bill is going to be $101. Now, before I added cable to my internet, I was only paying $65 a month. So they've added fees. They're charging me for the full price of the internet as a penalty for me canceling the cable and getting out of the bundle.
No, that's
so
yeah.
So in
That's,
essence, I can't get out of the bundle.
that's consistent with my experience, and in fact, it actually got so bad when I did the whole customer retention nightmare. It was 45 minutes before they would finally go through with it, and at one point they offered to essentially pay me a certain amount per month. Like they're like, look, you can either have internet only for $100 or you for $80 we'll give you internet and basic cable. I'm making those numbers up, but the point is like for whatever they're trying to juke the stats, as they say in The Wire. You know, they wanted us to please take the internet no matter, or the cable no matter what, just so it could not look like I'm cutting the cable.
Right. So they did everything in their power to make sure I kept the cable, and I basically have no choice. I guess the positive of it, if there's a positive, because I was actually ready to do it, is the DVR. And I know we're going to talk about DVR services later, but that's the one thing that I do love, and it's hard to get rid of. You know, having everything I watch just come down to one place. So, and they offer that for free for 12 months. So I'm trapped.
But you see, and that's the other thing,
wait
too.
a minute. Why wasn't it cheaper to still just do internet than do internet and television?
Oh no, it's cheaper. It wasn't cheap enough though. They were charging me the full price of internet, and I was for months, and actually the last 2 years, only paying $65 a month. I just got cable like 6 months ago.
Yeah,
But you're still paying more per month.
I am, because it just doesn't make sense to get rid of it at this point. I mean, it's only an extra $12 to keep it.
So it's an extra $12 to get the DVR and have it all.
About $20 to keep. Yeah. So it just made sense to just keep the cable and get rid of it.
Well, and keep in mind, like, some people feel like this is a nefarious plot to trap you into the, into the cable empire or whatever. I don't think it's that nefarious. And we've talked about this on the show before. I suspect all of these guys know what's coming. And what they're doing is they're just looking to retain enough people so that they could gracefully make the transition, which unfortunately means doing some screw you deals like they're doing right now, trying to heavily penalize you for cutting out cable.
Well, I think another part of it is carriage fees. Every time they go renegotiate carriage fees with the broadcasters, the bigger their subscriber base they can bring into that conversation, the better deal they can get. Because if the broadcaster's like, well, wait a minute, your subscribers are declining, so we're actually getting less money for you. We're not going to give you a bulk discount, essentially, anymore. You've got to give us a lot more money. So they want to keep those subscribers on the books so that it brings down that cost.
And keep
even
in
though it
mind
actually
also,
costs them more money, as long as they're getting more money in.
It's not just the hard numbers of how many they have right now. It's the trending data, because we've covered this story over and over and over again. And first it's the story as well, cable subscriptions are slowing down. Now they're actually declining. And then, we'll see a spike where it's like, okay, this month they're back up. But in general, I don't know anyone on the street who's like, man, I want to get me that cable, which there was a time 30 years ago. People were like, oh, man, if I could only have that cable. Nobody says that
I wish I could afford cable.
Yeah.
You don't get that anymore. Well, one of the reasons you don't get that anymore, Brian and Lamar, is because some people are like, you know what? I get amazing things out of the internet, especially from those crazy YouTube creators. That brings us to our secondary target.
Yeah.
YouTube put out a video that kind of hinted at some new things coming for YouTube creators. Those are the folks you watch, or maybe you're one of them. I know Lamar is. YouTube is adding a creative.
He's taking a moment to collect his thoughts right now. Hold on. We lost you on a Skype hiccup there for a second. Can you say that again, Tom?
State that YouTube is going to add a creator channel app. No, YouTube's adding a creator-focused app to help you manage your channel from the mobiles. Also, the idea of adding crowdfunding directly through your YouTube channel, so you don't have to go use any of those Patreons or Kickstarters. And 60-plus languages for subtitles that'll be crowdsourced, as well as the promised ability to somehow be able to share in revenue when you make a cover song, which right now you could do a cover song, but then you have to give the revenue over to the record company that owns the rights to that composition if you want to make any money on it.
Did you, and by the way, that's something that had been established before, where it's like they called them automatic royalties, where if
mechanical,
you're mechanical royalties, that's what they call them, right? But to institutionalize that in YouTube, number one, really makes me happy because it shows that YouTube is acknowledging its place as the dominant platform for young new artists and for people who aren't technically savvy necessarily to be able to reach out and become popular with the direct communication. Did you watch this video where they broke down all the changes they were planning to make, Lamar?
I did. I I did, and it'll be part of my YouTube weekly show probably later today. I liked everything they were saying, but I also know YouTube, and let's not be fooled here. The crowdfunding, they do not like that this show, Daily Tech News show, any other show you all do are on Patreon. They hate it because they're not getting anything from it, so they're gonna make their own. Of course, come in late, kind of like what Facebook does. Come in late and try to pull you all into their own, and because they're not getting a cut from that. So it's not all we're doing this for the benefit of our audience because we love you. No, they love the money that they're not getting from you all right now.
Yeah, well, and that's actually we've seen that on and you experienced this because you used to be a partner with Revision 3, and you would have them do their ad sales platform, and so you understand the difficulty of. Oftentimes you would record a video, and in the middle of the video, you'd stop and do a Netflix ad or whatever. But then at some point, YouTube's position is, hey man, we're your marketing partner, and when you do that and we don't get a cut, we feel like you're gypping us because we're providing all of this method for you to reach the world and this popular marketplace. So we think we have a cut of it or whatever. So I know that there was a I don't know, like a change. Kind of an earthquake through everything where it's like, stop making ads that are just ads. Now only make ads that are sneaky or something, where it's like basically what we heard was if YouTube could cut out this 30-second chunk and make your video better, then you're doing it wrong, was what I heard.
Yeah. So like when I do an Audible or something like it can't just interrupt the show. And now this is brought to you by, this is this week's book club pick. It has to be part of the show, or it just looks bad for the audience. But I don't want YouTube to have any excuse to try to take that revenue in the future.
Okay, so some of the things we heard, I do like the idea of institutionalizing automatic royalties for covers and mashups especially, because right now the content ID, I think, is skewed too far in the wrong direction. Will we all agree with that? Where it just
I'm just curious. He's like, and we would love to be able to do cover songs. We love cover songs. We want you to share in the royalties. Like, okay, so what's your method of doing that? Right? Like, that's one of those things that when they say we'd love you to do that, that means we've started to admit that that's something you really want. So I guess we're going to do the legal groundwork and content ID work to do it. I would not expect it to happen anytime soon.
Well, they also, as long as there was a lot of dancing around almost admitting that they were wrong in this video, right? When they talk about like, hey, we changed the commenting system.
Yeah.
And I guess
at least they acknowledged it. But yeah, like there were a few hiccups.
and as he says hiccups, he shows the Bob tank that the whole world erupted or whatever. But I will say this. I actually, and I'll go to bat with this against anyone. Maybe Lamar's the person that can explain the other side to me. But I see nothing, and I mean nothing, but good coming of the transition from the old comment system to the Google Plus one. I recently have started responding to every single comment everyone posts on it, and I've noticed that there's so much. I think the old system, I genuinely believe, rewarded people being the nastiest, the snarkiest, the snipiest, because it protected you with anonymity, and it made the nastiest, earliest stuff up first on there. It didn't allow you to give context. You weren't allowed to post links to other things. You couldn't do the same ASCII art that they used to protest the new comment system was only possible because of the new comment system. And so maybe I'm alone in this, but like where are you at on the comments? Do you think it's good that they made the transition or not?
I think it's good they made the transition because I see, every day that I put a video out or whenever I do, I see the comments are definitely improved, and the ones that aren't, they're filtered out and only I can see them. And then I could just, keep them in the spam or delete them. The one thing as a content creator that I guess this happened on TechCrunch when they moved over to Facebook comments. They were one of the first big platforms to do that. Comments dropped, because people weren't willing to sign up. And that's what I'm seeing on YouTube. So while we have better comments, we also have less engagement. And I don't know where the balance is for that. I don't know which one is necessarily better right now. I'm going to go ahead and say that the better quality is better, but it'll be nice to see other people who don't necessarily want to sign into Google Plus to be able to participate in some way.
Well, but I mean, as long as you're signed into YouTube, you're signed into Google Plus. I would say right now on Scam School, I'm checking those comments 3 times a day, and I'm spending about 20 minutes responding to all of them. So they're getting about an hour a day of my time just responding to it. So I feel I feel okay about the volume of comments that we're getting here. But maybe again, I don't. Not everyone is in that position.
Yeah, no, I'm not like upset that I'm not getting 30 more comments. It's just I just noticed a drop, and a lot of content creators noticed that there was a significant drop because their views have been dropping lately too. So we don't know if it's because of the comment system, is it because of the Google Plusification, but views across the site, everything's been going down for a lot of people, and the top people like PewDiePie, they're doing fine. They're moving up. But a lot of the mid tier, even people like Justine, all of us are just kind of dropping right now. We don't know why that's happening.
Yeah.
My guess is, and I should disclose that my wife works at the YouTube space where they shoot videos for creators, and they shot that video that we're talking about there. But she does not work in the ad side of things. And my guess is that the ad side of YouTube is really trying to cut down on bot-created views or spam-created views, and that's having an effect. But I would like to hear Google say that, if that's the case. Because it would make perfect sense if they're like, you know what, we need to make sure that the ads are actually legit ad views that we charge our advertisers. So you may see a drop in your ad numbers a little bit because we're stopping some malpractice from happening. Not because the creators are doing it, but just because there's bots out there on the internet. But yeah, nobody's saying anything.
But that's the tough thing too, because on the one hand, they want to do what's right because they stand to benefit if they have the highest quality, amount of views. Then that of course resonates with advertisers. But to publicly acknowledge, like, yeah, we think we have a problem and there's a lot of robots looking at our content, then I understand that stupid, delicate game that they have to do.
That's just saying the internet exists, though. I mean, come on, we all know that happens out there. They say it about AdSense on the Google search engine. Why not say it about YouTube?
The last two things is we have the crowdsourced nature of the funding, which I'm not crazy about. I don't understand. I mean, I don't know. I think it's great that we have a third-party marketplace with Patreon, with Kickstarter, with Indiegogo, with Subbable. I think that niche is filled and doing well with it. It feels weird to me that YouTube would try to inject themselves into that, where almost certainly, they're going to get a cut of that direct affection from the fans.
I mean, the most I want them to do, if anything, because my audience does not, what I do on YouTube does not work for Patreon. I'm very convinced of that. What you all do definitely works. I wouldn't mind a tip jar because I have people who say, hey, I want to help you in some way. And I never accept it. Like they say, can I PayPal you something? Because I don't need it. But, just having that available if they want to, and I can just invest that back into the show or more giveaways, whatever. Just something very modest on the right side. I think Vimeo does something like that. And if it's discreet, I'm okay with that. I just don't think they should jump into what you all are doing on Patreon now.
Here's my jaded hypothetical situation. It seems to me like, YouTube is sitting on, in general, a lot of goodwill for its main content creators. If I'm YouTube, it seems to me like I would love to set up that tip jar situation for you, Lamar, not because I want to cut out of it, not because I care about you getting money, but now I have everybody's credit card information, and it makes it easier for me to sell premium movie content as soon as we get started. Is that crackpot theory, Tom? Do you think that's out of nowhere?
Well, what do you mean premium movie content?
Well, whatever it is. Because
you mean Google Play, just being able to...
Exactly. Like, what if it was a one-click button and you're like, hey, you're enjoying this YouTube video that's a review of Godzilla.
Oh, I see.
Why
For the
don't you
consumer,
watch
for
this?
the person who donates, you say, okay, now you've got your credit card. You know what? I don't even think that's conspiratorial. I think that is like sound business practice. They want to get you to sign up for Google Wallet in any way they can.
Right.
And if this is another way to capture that information, then yeah, that's probably in their best practices for customer acquisition, for sure.
All right, so the last thing they mentioned, and I think this is nothing but good. I can find and again, for whatever jerk reason, I insist on trying to find the cynical reason on things. I can find nothing cynical about this. I love the crowdsourced subtitles, the ability for communities.
I can do it, Brian. I can bring you down.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Go for it.
Oh, so we're going to have accessibility, but we're going to crowdsource it to people. What's the quality control going to be on this? I mean, the captions on television are bad enough when there's actually a professional doing it sometimes if you've ever tried to watch them. Now we're going to have crowdsource in various language. How do we know the translations are going to be good? This is not paying attention to the importance of accessibility.
You don't believe that. I say
kind of do.
Yeah. Wikipedia, man. That's all I got to say. Once you make it a game and a status game of going in and jumping in and
probably
fixing
going to be
stuff,
better than the one on
there
TV,
will be trolls who like intentionally pollute it, but then they'll get weeded out really fast, I think. What do you say, Lamar?
I think you're mostly right on that. I would be very, as a creator, very wary of somebody going in and messing with my stuff right away because I don't know how fast, the rest of the crowd will go in and fix it. But I kind of like the bots doing it, but they do a horrible job. So,
Oh God, yeah.
I wouldn't mind trying it.
Right on.
Yeah.
Well, I guess in that regard, I got nothing else on this issue. What about you, Tom?
Let's thank the people who don't have the ability to click a donate button on YouTube yet, but still went to the trouble to go to patreon.com/cordkillers to help us out and keep the show going. How many patrons do we have? Timpani Brian.
1,809 patrons jumping in. And keep in mind, we are so less concerned with the amount that those guys are donating, although we totally appreciate it. We're much, much more concerned with the sheer volume of you guys. So many of you guys jumping in. Those of you guys, in fact, I just ran across an email. What I love about this is we will occasionally put out little State of the Cordkillers addresses where you and I talk about kind of where our show is going and what's important, and we'll ask questions. People will respond in the comments on Cordkillers. Those show up directly in my inbox. So my email pops up like somebody has a thoughtful comment about the show. And of course, because you guys are our boss, jump right in. I'm able to respond and say, well, we're thinking this, but if you have another idea, we're all ears. Cannot thank you guys enough. You have made possible one of the best, most rewarding experiences of my life, and I hope of Tom's as well, by being part of the Cord Killing army over at patreon.com/cordkillers.
You're 100%. One of the few I support.
All right.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, then let's bring on some signals intelligence.
If you insist, sir. I feel smarter already.
We've got a couple of new shows that Netflix is looking at commissioning. They are of very different natures, though. Let me present them to you both and then get your evaluations. Variety says Netflix wants to do a 10-episode prequel series to the movie Wet Hot American Summer, possibly with the original cast, Janine Garofalo, Paul Rudd, Bradley Cooper, etc. They're also looking at a historical drama called The Crown, which is being written by a screenwriter and playwright named Peter Morgan. You might know him from Frost Nixon, Last King of Scotland, or The Queen. And it sounds like Sony Pictures Television is involved in this. So it's a legit, serious series, kind of along the lines of House of Cards, except about the monarchy, following the life of Queen Elizabeth II.
I mean,
which one of these you want to see more, Brian?
Is that too close to home on that? I mean, it seems like.
I thought you were going to say, are the two series too close to each other?
Yes.
I don't think.
No, not Wet Hot American. I mean,
Crown?
House of Cards and The Crown, not Wet Hot American Summer.
What do you mean too close to each
other? I don't know. I mean, one's a power play.
English?
Yeah, one's a power play within a dynasty of government, and the other's a power play of the dynasty that's in the government.
No, the other one's not a power play at all. The other one is the life of a royal. And they would probably do flashbacks like, here she is in the 50s when England was like this and the monarchy was like this, and here she is in the 70s during the Diana thing, and that's not House of Cards.
Okay, all right. Well, then good.
That's more biopic, I feel like.
I only know that Justin has been on me to get to finally watch Wet Hot American Summer, and I did just watch the preview based on this news, and I'm like, all right, I'll give it a try. Whatevs.
Never seen it.
Yeah. I feel bad that I haven't. I feel like I failed.
Like it talks about how it's such a cult hit, and I was like, "Is it?"
Yeah, I've never heard anybody talk
must be
about
out
it.
of touch.
Dude, Justin would be slapping us all around right now if he was here. No, he genuinely believes that it's a cult hit. I'm sure the chat room will be slapping us around too.
And then they're gonna do a prequel for 13 years. They're gonna be 13 years older, and they're gonna somehow do a prequel and look younger.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now these folks are the camp counselors, mind you, so it's not quite as bad as if they were like supposed to be the high school students.
Okay, that's gonna be kind of a stretch.
Yeah.
All right. Oh, yeah, Amy Poehler's in that. Okay, interesting.
No, I mean, there's a lot of impressive names. I mean, it seems like again, it's weird to me that I missed this when it happened. So
I do think now that we've talked about this, that they should mash up the two ideas into one.
Let's do it. 2 for 1.
I'll tell you what else is. There was a little bit of chit chat, and I'm forgetting which one of these there are. Is the question of, are they going to go ahead and just buy 2 seasons at once? Because that's, I mean, Netflix lately is batting 1,000, right? Every time they do one of these originals, they end up super popular. And 20 minutes after they announce, even before Orange is the New Black premiered, they're like, it's so good we're getting a second season. Like, I mean, that's do you think either or both of these they would do the same thing?
Well, the advantage that Netflix has is to negotiate 2 seasons at once, to say our data points show that we're going to benefit from this no matter what. We don't care about viewers any more than HBO does, in so much as what we want is things that are going to bring in subscriptions. So Netflix has the flexibility to go in and just say, and we also don't have to string these out week after week on a grid, on a schedule. We can just put them all up at once. So that's what convinced them to go with Netflix for House of Cards.
Right.
I would 100% believe that Netflix is putting the same offer on the table for The Crown.
I think. Go ahead, Lamar.
I was gonna say I really don't like when I mean, I love their series, of course. I don't like when they, you're about to watch House of Cards season 2, and it's like, oh, we just signed for season 3. It's like, let me determine if it's good enough.
Yeah.
I mean, in my mind, because you've already told me that it's awesome, and I may not think it's awesome once I watch it. I just wish they would wait maybe 2 weeks after it's out.
All right,
you
fine.
you would at
Netflix,
least like.
Reed Hastings, please call Lamar first
Thank
before
you.
you add
That's all
new
I want.
seasons.
But I think that's good. I think what Lamar's asking for is at least the illusion that they're listening. Because when they announce that kind of stuff, it does feel like they're saying like, "Hey man, you're gonna love it. Shut the hell up. We're gonna shovel more of it in your face."
We don't
Yeah.
care what you think. It's already a
We
go.
don't care. They are artists. You don't ask authors whether they need a fan approval before they write a sequel. These are artistes, and they should not kowtow to the lowest common Tom Merritt out there.
All right. The real quick in the chat room, Ken from Chicago is pointing out. I said that Netflix is batting 1,000. Ken from Chicago gave one of the Hemlock Grove, which I would say yes. Hemlock Grove is not my taste. It's probably not anyone else's here, but to that horror community, it's exactly what they want, and they did bat 1,000.
And that's why they gave it another season
to that crowd. Yeah.
Let's gear up, man. Let's get some gear on our ups.
If you insist, sir.
So this is for the people. Amazon is sending targeted invitations. Oh, I guess it's not for the people. It's only for the elites who get the targeted
It's for the
invitations.
persons.
Yeah, this allows customers to try a Fire TV set-top box for 30 days before they have to pay. It's kind of a bait and switch, though, right?
Yeah.
You have to give your credit card if they send you one of these emails, and then they're like, but we won't charge your card for 30 days. Just return the Fire TV if you don't like it. But if you keep it after 30 days, they charge you.
I mean, and keep in mind also that you could go right now and buy one and then return it within 30 days anyway. So this is just like they're doing the Columbia House model of shoving something in your hands. It's called the puppy dog clothes in sales, right? They're going to trick you into getting it.
And you know what else it's called? Called Desperate. It is desperate. They must not be selling any of the. Please, we just want them in your house just for 30 days. Please, just keep them.
Man,
it's sad. It must be doing poorly, man. Come on.
Yeah, no, that's the. I hate to agree with you, Lamar, but I think you're 100% right. You don't pull out the exact same tactic as a used car salesman when you're Apple. You do it when you're having difficulty getting your stuff in people's hands.
Well, if they never had that crazy guy, what's his name that promoted it? The actor, they never had that crazy.
Putting Gary Busey on.
Gary Busey, I'm like anybody but that guy. He's not going to sell anything to me.
It's a good point, sure.
They have not had to do a deal like this, I don't think, for any of the models of the Kindle. I may be missing it. Maybe they did something similar that I'm unaware of. But this does strike me as something we're like, ooh, we're not moving as many of these as we should. Let's get a few more out there in the hands of people, banking on the fact that they'll like it and tell their friends. But that means people aren't convinced.
I mean, that's the other thing, too, is if they're positioning this as like, look at us, we're so gregarious, we're giving you a chance to try it free. That just doesn't ring true, because this is a cheesy sales tactic, and it's a bummer that I don't know. This does not. I'm with you, Lamar. I think that this is a desperate whine that I didn't expect to hear from Amazon, because I actually thought they were on the right track with this. I thought that they had a good chance to get into the living room, but apparently that's a difficult space to penetrate.
Well, Brian, speaking of difficult spaces to penetrate, how about the double the price deal. Are you still doing that over at scamstuff.com?
Oh, you of course are mentioning that that we can that you can support the show by going to scamstuff.com. And we recently, for coincidentally on April 1st, we did a double your price sale. Everything in the store at 200% the cost. No. Of course, we mentioned the Sword and Laser anthology that came out recently. That's a way to support Tom and make possible his part of things. You could go to Scam Stuff and support me. What about you, Lamar? Do you have stuff to sell? If somebody wanted to throw money in your face, what would the best way to do it?
PayPal. No, I don't have. No, I have no merchandise yet. I am terrible. I'm like the last YouTuber who won't even get a shirt.
Oh, so, you got to do something. Let the fans.
I know. I may need to talk to you because you're killing it on Scam Stuff. So
it certainly looks that way.
Yeah.
But we appreciate it, and you guys should know that all three of us, we're all little mom and pop indie folks here, and so every time you guys buy something for us with Scam Stuff, it really is like right below me in the garage downstairs. We fill it out. Zach, who normally does switching the show, he goes down and prints something off of our LaserJet printer and sends it out to you guys. You really can. The American Dream is alive and well if you want to participate in it.
And the American Dream of surveillance is not the inspiration for the name of our next segment, Under Surveillance. Under Surveillance. This is our segment where we talk about things to watch. Like, what good is all this gear in these streaming services if you don't have cool stuff to watch? And people have to make cool stuff, which is why we talk about movies, and we're very excited about the Star Wars films. A new Star Wars film is coming December 2016. This is a year after the J.J. Abrams Episode 7, because as you may recall, Disney said they're going to do side movies that are sort of origin stories about different characters. Good money is that it might be on Boba Fett, but nobody knows for sure. What we do know is the director of Godzilla, Gareth Edwards, has been named as the director of this side story that will come out in 2016. And Gary Whitta is going to write the script.
Yeah, I don't know how I missed this news, because this came out 2 or 3 days ago, and I heard, Godzilla guy doing a Star Wars movie. Well, Godzilla was good. I like the monsters. I'm sure it'll be just fine. And it wasn't until today that I saw Gary Whitta. Of course, Gary Whitta has appeared on Game On, which I did with Veronica Belmont. I've been a fan of his work since he was editor-in-chief at PC Gamer magazine. I enjoyed the Book of Eli. I will do him the service of not mentioning After Earth. But he's super talented and funny. And a guy who loves this universe very passionately. What I like about all this, and forgive me if I piss off some of the original fanboys here, is that it feels to me like what they want to create, just as the Marvel movie franchise has essentially recreated what it was like to be a Marvel Comics fan in the late 80s, early 90s, with crossovers and individual stories and team-ups and all this stuff, the Avengers coming together out of, 6 movies before it or whatever. I feel like that's what we're getting from the Star Wars Expanded Universe novels, where we're going into these little side journeys with these other characters, and we get the backstories and all that. I am cautiously optimistic. I want to believe. Should I not, Lamar?
I guess you could believe if you want to.
That's a ringing endorsement, sir.
Yeah, no, I was thinking about who did the Star Trek, the new ones? Was that J.J. Abrams?
Yeah, that was J.J. Abrams, right?
I like the way those, and I'm a Trekkie, and I mean from the generation up, and I don't know. I would like someone like that to do it. I don't know if this Godzilla guy will meet that standard, but I really like J.J. Abrams' style of doing this. I was hoping someone similar to him. I'll wait, because you know what? I liked the prequels, and so I'm one of those who's like, I'm not such a fanboy. I'm not such a fanboy that I got crazy about any changes or whatever. I actually enjoyed them. I mean, they were just movies to me. So
Lamar, this is how much I adore you as my personal friend, is that I'm going to do you the service of pretending you never said you liked the prequels. And I mean this from the bottom of my heart, sir.
Oh my.
This is the kind of thing, like when I was a hardcore Star Trek fan, like I would get like wild in arms over this kind of thing. I've mellowed with my old age, but I am optimistic. First of all, and we've talked about this before, like everything Disney buys and touches turns to continued awesome. They did the smart thing of not really messing with Pixar. They turned Marvel in from, the studio that made, or the property generator that made Daredevil, into the one that made the Avengers. And I'm hoping that they'll save Star Wars as well. And I think I filled enough air that Tom's back with us. Are you back with us, Tom?
Well, the internet's taking a crap here in Santa Clara, California, Brian, but I think my packets are coming through, are they?
Yes, they are. And I like it's like you're reporting on the digital weather. We're like,
Yes. A storm front of bandwidth usage at the Hyatt has taken me down.
vast amounts of packets lost at every turn, Brian.
It's the packetamity.
Are you excited about which are you more excited about, the director or the writer on this? Because I was really blown away.
I'm more excited about the writer, but
Yeah.
I also am a fan of Gary Whitta, like you, and he was on an episode of Sword and Laser as well, so we feel good about that and everything. I also think he's just really good.
Yeah.
Too, right? Whether it's Boba Fett or Han Solo or something else.
Yeah, I agree. By the way, there's a great thing if you look up Gary Whitta Jedi Academy rant. If you want to see how much and just judge how much like you he is when you hear him talk about what the way he wishes, it's filled with lots of NSFW language. Jump like halfway in. Hopefully, let's see if we could dodge a bullet here. Take a listen. He's talking about how he just wants to terrify children who are going to the Disney experience
here.
here.
That's with us.
Yes.
But he's in the crowd with all the other kids.
A plant is, I think, the word for that in the
he's
grift
a
industry.
plant. And so what they, because what they do is once they have the kids come up one at a time to fight.
I've never
Vader.
seen a joyful look of glee in your eyes like I'm seeing right now. I'm a little scared.
So I would set it up so that the first kid that comes up to fight Darth Vader is always the plant kid.
Okay.
And, what happens at Jedi Training Academy is like Darth Vader goes through like a pre-sequence of like very kind of lame moves and the kid gets
duck.
Swing.
duck, swing, hit him on the head. And you do a couple of moves and then Vader like walks away and the next kid comes up. But it's very lame.
Do you think Vader wears a cup?
I think he does.
Yeah,
you never know.
some kid's going to walk up and kick him in the balls. Yeah.
Someone's going to do it. But I would have the first kid come up.
I would tell my kid to do that.
I would have the plant kid come up, and as part of a choreographed fight, just have Vader just kick the shit out of this kid. Just beat him, like
That's enough. Look, as far as I'm concerned, this movie's going to be gold if it's anything like the stuff I just heard.
Absolutely. Let's move along to our front lines segment.
You got it, sir. And watch this. I'm gonna take just a moment, and I'm gonna keep talking until Brant, who very boldly has come in. There you go.
Front lines.
Play the front lines opener. Hey man, Amazon has released the first 6th episode of the first children's original show called Tumbleleaf to subscribers of Amazon Prime Instant Video. The next 7 episodes will come later this summer. This show's a stop-motion animated series following a blue fox named Fig and his friends. I took a look at the preview. It looks like a stop-motion kid show about a blue fox.
It's a kid show
named Fig.
I took a look at the preview, and I have to say, I'm really thinking this looks like a kid show.
Yeah, I believe it. I believe
this could be for kids.
All right, normally we give a full minute to these stories. Just jump on to the next one.
That's all you needed to know. The Bot is coming to Vimeo, ladies and gentlemen. The video streaming company has introduced copyright matching technology similar to YouTube's, although Vimeo insists they're going to try to make allowances for fair use. If a video matches a copyrighted signature, a user can appeal by telling Vimeo they have permission or that it's fair use or that it's a mistake. But it does sound like your video gets taken down and then you have to explain, which is always the problem.
I mean, this had to happen eventually, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
they can bigger.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, but on the flip side, the mere fact that they've stated right from the get-go that it's important to them that they protect mashup artists, creative individuals who want to remix, that they understand the importance of fair use. I guess really this is more Lamar's area of expertise. Do you feel like are you calmed by those statements, or do you feel like it's all just noise and Vimeo's going to turn into YouTube hegemony part 2?
No, I think it's good. I think they got ahead of the story in advance to say, hey, we have to do this, but we're going to be looking out for you. And that's something YouTube has never said. They just kind of slammed it down our throats and we had to deal with it. So, I like their approach. I wish YouTube would adopt some niceness with their copyright.
YouTube has this exact same functionality, but what you're reacting to, Lamar, is the attitude, right? Which is entirely different.
Yeah.
Exactly. What I hope, though, is that I'm reading this wrong and that Vimeo's saying, we'll send you a notice about copyright issue, and we won't take down your video until you've answered it or changed it. But I doubt that's the way it works, because they don't legally have to take it down right away. They can notify you and get your fair use, and then they could send the counter notice for you. But that's actually not the way the companies put pressure on other companies to do it. So my guess is going to be this kind of de facto prior restraint that we have to deal with that is not part of the law, but it's what the companies end up negotiating, and you lose.
But it's also, keep in mind, part of when YouTube enacted their more draconian policies internally, this is when the height of the Viacom lawsuit was still haunting them. They needed to get out ahead of that, and I would say they swung the pendulum too far in the other way, but it sounds like Vimeo, as you said, Lamar, they got out ahead of this, so they were able to do
But
that.
we don't know if it's any different of a policy or not, Brian.
Correct.
I mean, it may be actually taking the videos down, in which case it's doing exactly what YouTube has been doing.
Yeah, so don't be jerks. All right, look, that's the end of your extension, Merritt. Look, man, another example of a TV company punishing internet users who have nothing to do with their dispute. Viacom has blocked people with Cable One internet service from seeing episodes of shows like The Daily Show. The reason is because Viacom is having a dispute with Cable One over carriage fees for channels on the Cable One cable TV service. Now, it took me a couple of read-throughs to really get what was happening here. This is not a case where your provider, Cable One, is choking your internet experience by shaping your traffic or whatever. This is a case where the content owners don't like the cut of your jib coming in your Cable One boat, and they decide that they're just not going to serve your kind around here, which I don't know how I feel about this. It short circuits my whole net neutrality thing, and I'll take an extension because I just talked for a full minute about it.
Yeah, I mean, what they're doing is saying, oh, well, Cable One TV subscribers are probably Cable One internet subscribers, so we're going to block our shows for them. But the problem is not all Cable One TV subscribers are Cable One internet subscribers, so those aren't getting blocked on the internet. And some Cable One internet subscribers are not Cable One TV subscribers, so they're getting blocked for no good reason.
Isn't this just like the CBS thing with the when they were blocked through who was that they were blocked through? So was it Time Warner or another cable? Yeah, it seemed like this happens a couple times a year.
Well, but if I remember correctly, and again, I could be totally wrong, like we've heard stories where, where the provider itself has been, Time Warner, for example, and that's not the right example here, says, we hate BitTorrent, no BitTorrent on our service. And of course, that is a clear violation of the principles of net neutrality. But the idea that a content owner, somebody who creates and hosts it, like if I say, I don't like, whatever. Like, don't come to my website if you're category X. That seems like a right that maybe I should have run on my website. I don't know.
Except it's not a net neutrality issue. It's a content.
Oh, it is
my content to somebody. So it's an entirely different issue than bits are bits because the ISP isn't involved. It's a content provider saying, no, I'm not going to serve video to anybody coming in from that range of IP addresses.
We don't serve your kind here. All right.
Yeah. The TV show tracking app got an update. It can now push notifications about when your favorite shows will air, not just on your iPhone, but on your iPad too. A lot of people use this to know like when their shows are coming back. You also get an overhaul with a new full screen layout on the phone version. Of course, an all new interface on the iPad app because that's new. And the app now called TV3 costs you $3.
Never use this. I'm definitely going to because this is my biggest thing, not knowing when a show like Fallen Sky is one of my favorite shows. I don't know when it's coming back, but get a notification. Say it's coming back this week. Be ready. Put in your DVR. That'll be awesome.
Yeah, that's what it's for.
All right.
Hey, man, Samsung announced Project Glued, which will let users rent an entire season of TV shows for 30 days for $6.50. TV shows from the UK and the US in high-def quality can be streamed or downloaded to watch later. It will launch in Singapore and the Philippines on Samsung Galaxy devices. This was like so ridiculous. My enthusiasm went from this to this to this to
Yeah.
No, I know, Brian, if it doesn't come right into your house, you never care. But A, people in our audience in the Singapore and Philippines are going to be able to try this out. And B, if it actually does catch on, it might eventually come to our neck of the woods. At least I think it's intriguing that they're experimenting with this idea of like pay for a whole month of a TV show.
Lamar.
It's just the Galaxy devices though.
All right, you got me there.
Like watching it on, and we talked about this, the pay by the inch thing. Like this is the tiniest, most lamest thing. It's like I don't know. Like
the note's pretty big.
It's
All right, fine. Nimble TV charges $10 above your existing cable subscription to give you web access to dozens of channels with the DVR. They've been only doing this for broadcast lately in New York City, but they're going to be expanding both to a new market, Chicago, and also to cable channels. So the idea is we're going to give you TV everywhere. We're going to rent you a Sling box. Nimble, if you recall, you're like, it sounds familiar. They also have a separate service where people who don't live in New York City can get web access to television from New York City through the Dish service. They basically sell you an address and a box that you can access over the internet that way. So pretty interesting that they're moving into Chicago and trying to be like, hey, you know what? If Aereo can be renting an antenna over the internet, we're going to rent a Sling box.
Now, either one of you all have been opponents of DVR, saying DVRs are dead, and this is one example. I think people love the idea of the DVR, whether it's TiVo or set-top box or just in the cloud. I think DVR is still a viable technology, or just I mean. Which one of you all is against it?
I totally agree. It's a little more hands-on than I would like in a perfect world, but at the end of the day, we start, our show's called Cordkillers, but we don't really have any aversion to cable companies in general. As we clearly state in the beginning, all we care about is you being able to watch what you want, when you want, on whatever device you want. And if that means there's a space for somebody to come in and charge $10 a month in order to provide a concierge level service where it's like, look, yes, I already know you like these things. I went ahead and recorded them for you. You don't have to worry about missing them. You don't have to worry about looking them up. I did it for you. I'd pay $10 a month for that.
Yeah, it's basically like, you know what? I don't want to mess with a Sling box. Yeah. And I just want to rent this service, and I already pay for cable, so I have the rights to this. It's actually on more solid legal ground than, say, an Aereo. And yeah, Lamar, I think DVR is fine. I use a DVR for over-the-air. I have a TiVo for over-the-air stuff. Okay. I just think that it's the next best thing to eventually being able to just say, I want to watch this, and it's there all the time. I don't have to do anything. I don't have to program it. I don't have to set a season pass, anything like that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Hey, man, should we check in on the movie draft?
Well, sure. I'm still in first place.
What are you doing anything? Holy cow, what a weekend.
Whew. I'm still in first place.
Yeah, okay, but for the moment, enjoy it while you can, sir. All right, walk us through this. I know that X-Men, of course, surprised everyone. Justin and I are already in a bad spot. Our first movie is Blended, which took a giant freaking dump at the box office, came in under expectations. Meanwhile, DTNS, you guys, you spent $26, like barely half of what you paid for Captain America, for something that looks like it's going to vastly outperform Captain America. I'm seeing people say that X-Men Days of Future Past could do as much as like $400 million at the box office. It opened to $90 million right at the very beginning. How you feeling right now?
Well, if it weren't for Neighbors being the #2 best buy for the morning stream, I'd feel a little better, but they've got that and Godzilla. And honestly, I thought X-Men might do more like 95, but I'm certainly not disappointed with 90 at all. I wonder if there weren't the murmurings and worries about Bryan Singer out there, if it might not have done better. But this is for the purposes of the movie draft, what we needed it to do. So I'm good there. It's all for us on Team DTNS about how Tammy and Sex Tape do, and whether that can outperform whatever the morning stream or God's Money Bags have left in the tank.
Man, I'll tell you what, we're going to know a very different landscape just 2 weeks from now, because over the next 2 weeks, Night Attack, we have Edge of Tomorrow comes out, and then back-to-back, we got Think of Like a Man 2, Transformers Age of Extinction within the next 30 days. Right now, though, I think this is a two-man race. I think it's DTNS in the morning stream. I think Slash Film is going to have...
Oh, no. How to Train Your Dragon 2 is going to put God's Money Bags right back in this.
I have no faith in God's money bags.
Money bags. And let's not forget, Amchecker has both the films this week. A Million Ways to Die in the West comes out, along with Maleficent. Both sort of question marks. They might do really well, or they might kind of underperform. It's hard to tell.
I'm actually going to say of those two, I think Maleficent will take #1 at the box office. I think that's going to be the surprise.
Pretty scary. And that's a good buy. They only spent 18 on it.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about what's on screen.
Yeah.
Or what's been on a screen.
with our VHS tapes. Hey, you want to know something hilarious, Tom?
You didn't watch anything,
I
did you?
didn't watch a damn thing. And I didn't. It wasn't that I didn't mean to. I reserved time because Bonnie went out of town. I was in charge of Penny, or I'm sorry, the rest of the kids while Penny went to do a sleepover at NASA, and I was like, well, at least Sunday night I'll watch Game of Thrones, and Monday morning I'll watch Cosmos, just like I always do. Guess what? It's a holiday weekend, and neither of those are on. So I did watch a lot of Clifford's Puppy Days. I watched Clifford the Big Red Dog, and some other terrible, I don't know, PBS Kids crap that I hated that my kids were watching.
I've watched a lot of panels at BayCon because I've been here since Thursday, and like you say, Game of Thrones, Cosmos, a lot of the regular shows weren't on. I did watch season finale of The Shield, episode 13, which we will discuss in spoiler in time, and finally got around a week late to watching the season finale of Arrow, which really puts a capper on an amazing season 2 for that show. They've blown me away, and how they have turned this into something that is so much better than Smallville ever could have been.
Really?
It is a superhero show now, and I cannot wait. They have set the table for this to be like a full-fledged like superhero season next year, and I'm looking forward to it.
Right on. What about you, Lamar? What are you watching?
Well, actually, I'm kind of in your boat, but I watched a couple of things. I've been playing Mario Kart 8 all week because I've had it exclusively early, so I've been enjoying that. Actually, one of my shows that just came out, I love Continuum. Have either of you all ever watched that show?
We've talked about it. I've never gotten into it, but I know.
Amazing sci-fi show.
I watched season 1, and then my DVR. I'm not bringing this up because of our earlier discussion, but my DVR failed to record any of the episodes when it came back, and I realized too late, and so I've been putting off watching it because I want to go back and catch the episodes from the beginning. So I think I might just wait for it to come to Netflix.
No, you're actually right about the DVR, because even with mine, it hiccuped a couple times and put the episodes out of order. Because I noticed as I was catching up, I was like, wait a minute, something's wrong here. So anyway, I recommend that show. I know you're gonna laugh at me, but on Disney XD, there was a season finale of Marvel's Avengers Assemble. It's the cartoon version of the Marvel's. The Avengers movies, so to speak. And it's actually amazing series, and they kind of lined up the ending very well with the way the Avengers movie ended. So if you like Avengers, you'll like that show. But they just ended it yesterday.
Yeah,
cool.
Disney XD has some good ideas, and I guess it didn't end up really going anywhere, but I really enjoyed watching Tron Legacy when it was on Disney XD, and I know there's talk about there being a Star Wars related weekly show. Star Wars Rebels, fully animated, is supposed to be on Disney XD when it comes out too, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's going to be cool.
Hey, man, shall we jump in on some dispatches from the front?
I think so.
Just once I want you to say, no, we won't, Brian.
No, screw that.
Rodney writes in saying, hey, Brian and Tom, love the show. Been going on 2 years sans cable. I realized that I was the only person in my 4-member family really watching cable, yet spending in the neighborhood $170 a month. So I took the plunge and made the break and have enjoyed my experience. However, I have missed a DVR, Lamar Wilson, since adding the antenna in the attic. But then this device, and he talks about the Tableau, came to my inbox by Word.com's subscription. Basically, he just wants to know what we think of Tableau. And everything, I think it's fair to say, everything we've seen and heard about the Tableau, we've liked, right? And we know that the folks over at Tableau have reached out to us before. I still haven't gotten hands-on with it. Have you played with it yet, Tom?
No, I haven't. I was in on the Indiegogo, but they didn't fund. So I didn't get the pre-order that way. They did offer people in the backing to do a pre-order, and at that point I was like, I probably shouldn't spend the money. So they're in pre-orders right now, and it comes mid-June 2014. Should we pre-order one, Brian?
You know what? We should. Because we have a little bit of cash now that we're independent.
And you know what we could do is I'm going to pre-order it right now while I'm talking.
Right on.
I will take it right out of PayPal, so that it's the full-on, you could just give me the Patreon money that way, and then when I'm done looking at it, I'll send it to you, and then we can both get a take on it.
Ooh, all right, now you're talking. We do like a book club with sharing some gear.
Yeah.
We also got an
Set-top
email
box
from
club.
Alan. Why don't you, are you gonna order it right now while we're talking? You want me to read this one?
You know, I was going to, but then it started giving me trouble. So let me go ahead and read this one.
Okay.
Nick says, I have a random question that's not necessarily show related. Oh, well then what is it? Oh, he's having problems with Podcatcher. I don't know what the answer to this one is.
Okay, I didn't either, and mainly I just wanted to sort of give a call out to folks. Basically,
The reason I'm saying is I use Podcatcher, and it's been working fine for me.
okay,
so.
that's what I wanted to know. That's why I put it in there, because I use iCatcher, and I know that that Cordkiller shows up for me in iCatcher, and I was able to search for whatever, and there was no problem. What about Lamar? Do you use a podcast listener? Or how do you get your podcasts?
For you all shows, I watch you on YouTube. That's just the easiest for me on my Xbox.
A lot of people do that.
But the podcast one I use is the Apple one for like audio podcasts.
Okay.
Anyway, I'll look at my Podcatcher when I get back home and see if I can't figure out what might be going on with him.
It might be
But
a
this
one-off
This
thing,
is definitely a one-to-one issue, as far as I could tell.
Well, I just wanted to make sure, because I know there have been times we set stuff up and it ended up not working for everyone, but it might be something as simple as...
Did you see more than just this guy's email?
No, but it's also
Okay.
the only one
That's
that
good.
I've gotten that mentioned Podcatcher, because I only could speak to the stuff that I have been doing.
Okay, but we didn't get like a bunch of others like, I'm having problems. Okay.
Alan says that Tom's point about personnel changes being behind the policy reversals seems spot on to me. I love this game where it's like I clearly put this in because eventually I figured out what he's talking about, but right now I'm just like, what issue is this about? But with regards to discs versus new digital library features, this is when we were talking about the Xbox One. I don't see why Microsoft couldn't have added back old-style discs and still preserve all the new features for the digital library. It seems like new features might even encourage people to buy games, blah, 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 blah. Basically, he says, why couldn't you have added back discs and also kept all the inventive things like the ability to share digital copies of your whatever. And the problem is if you have both the ability to sell media, and yet also, if you could literally or figuratively have your cake and eat it too, if you can have your DVD and watch it too, then that you cannot do those both things. And that is why once everyone freaked out and they're like, no, we want the ability to sell our used games and we want them to be physical media and we want to own them and send them to whatever, that unfortunately it just sort of cut the nuts right out of the initiatives that Xbox had been working on with all that stuff. So, and I do believe that elements of what they were originally pitching for Xbox One will come back, but it won't be like, to me, from the beginning, Microsoft was trying to create a Steam-like experience, and they got a resounding, we hate you from the fans, and as a result, it'll be a very long time till we get anything close to that in the console market.
Yeah, which is so stupid. I mean, I think the fans realize it now, but had they actually read the initiatives, they would have realized that digital downloads and what's been going on for years on the PC. It's just like, the console market just freaked out without taking their time. And now we're suffering for it. And I'm all digital. I don't want disc in here. So
I agree.
Yeah. And so I hope they make a discless one day.
The point that Brian made is worth repeating, which is you can't have you can have digital and disc together. I get why you're asking this, but the publishers won't allow it.
Exactly.
They're like, no, we won't let it be digital only. We'll buy discs and go sell them to used game shops because we're worried we're going to lose the revenue. So it's one or the other, Xbox, you choose. So it's the publishers that are dictating the terms there.
Exactly.
And then finally, we got Sean, who says, I've been a fan since 1 BC, before Cordkillers. Last year, I moved to a new home, took my Uverse system with me. I'd been a loyal Uverse customer for more than 5 years. This is cable TV and internet from AT&T. And he used their Take Uverse With You promotion. And his bill actually went down when he moved to $180 a month. Prior, it was $185 a month, even after adding Red Zone. And quick side note, anyone looking to go to Uverse, the install tech at his new home informed them that AT&T has a standard policy. If they have to spend more than 20 minutes running cables to rooms, they'll automatically give you their wireless receivers at no charge, where they charge you $25 per receiver if you order them when you call. So never order them. Just make them give them to you for free. Anyway, the point of his email is that after his first year, the bill jumped to $222 a month. He made the call, basically said, I either need a better deal or I'll have to cancel my service. I was informed that if I increased my speed to 18 megabits per second, they could lower my bill by $65 a month. So long story short, he's still with AT&T with faster internet at a lower price.
This is all going back to the chicken challenge, which I'm really bummed it sounds like didn't work out well for Lamar when he tried to quit. But by and large, we hear stories like this all the time where people are like, no, give me a better deal. No, give me a better deal. And then they walk away like, okay, I'll pay less and get more. Good job.
Yes, I'm jealous.
Hey, Lamar, where can people check you out online?
Hey, you can go to youtube.com/Lamar Wilson, and you'll get my lifestyle tech. It won't be a daily show, but every other day or so. I'm actually, and don't tell anybody, because this is a secret, but I'm going to be kind of moving my gaming stuff over to a different channel because a gaming person told me I needed to. So just check my main channel, youtube.com/Lamar Wilson for that. And that was a tournament I had at Justine's house. We played Mario Kart, and that was hilarious. I kicked her butt. I just spoiled it for everybody. I kicked her butt. But,
and that's Lamar, Lamarr, two R's, one M.
Yeah, Lamar Wilson is on Twitter, on almost any social network. Check me out on. Appreciate it.
Right on, man. Thanks so much for joining us. And, of course, if you guys want to pipe in, you can hit us up at cordkillers@gmail.com or leave us a little note on the Contact Us button at cordkillers.com. All one word, right?
That is right. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
Wow.